All right, Jan. Jan's going to take me on a tour of Plains. So, Jan, where are we going?
I have so much to show you, and you've made me choose. I'm going to show you where the president was born, where he got married, where he lived when he came home from the Navy, where he teaches Sunday school, and then we're going to take a visit to the national park sites, which are so important to Plains.
You got it. Let's go.
All right. So you're going to... Plains, Georgia began in 1885, and that is due to the fact of the railroad coming to Plains. It was first located north of the site, and a gentleman by the name of Mr. Hudson said, if the town will survive, it has to come to the railroad tracks that are being laid. So he secretly bought all the land that the town is now built on.
Wow.
We're now at the building that President Carter was born in. He is our first president to be born in a hospital, and he was born on October the 1st, 1924. He should have been born at home, but this was a hospital, and his mother was a registered nurse. She was working in the operating room. She went into labor. The doctor said, I'm not going to go home and deliver your baby. Have your baby in this hospital. So that's why he was born in a hospital. It is now a nursing home, a rehab center, and President and Mrs. Carter come here often to visit with their friends.
And it's the Lillian G.
Carter Health and Rehab Center.
Okay.
Welcome to Maranatha Baptist Church. This is where President Carter teaches his Sunday school class every Sunday that he is in Plains. As far as we know, he is the only president to have ever taught in his hometown as well as Washington, and we are very sure that he is the only former president who teaches a class today. Our church is located in a beautiful pecan orchard. The pecans are growing now on the trees in clusters of 3 most of the time, and we will harvest them in November by just picking them up off the ground when they fall from the tree. We're now at the Plains High School. It is now the Museum and Visitor Center for the National Park Service. Jimmy and Rosalind went to school in this building from the time they were in the 1st grade until they graduated in the 11th.
Oh, wow.
It is now, of course, not a teaching facility, but we do have a full-time teacher here. So if school groups come, they can learn about the 3 Ps, which is Plains, Peanuts, and a President. There was a movie filmed in our area called To Dance with a White Dog. It's a Hallmark movie. Jessica Tandy and Hugh Crone, this is their last movie together, and this building is featured in that movie. This house was built in the early 1880s. It is the oldest house in Plains, Georgia. That man named Mr. Hudson, who bought all the land for the town to be built on, had this house built for he and his family so he could watch the town from his front porch. Next door to it is the famous Billy Carter service station.
Ah.
This is where everybody who came to Plains after President Carter went to Washington wanted to come and visit this little station. It looks much better now, and it belongs to the Plains Better Hometown program. But this is where Billy stayed in the afternoons after work with his drinking buddies. I was told when I came to Plains as a new bride in '71, my mother-in-law said, Jan, don't go here because the ladies of Plains don't go here. We still have people who will pull up here and act like they're putting gas in their car because it is Billy Carter service station. It's now a museum where you can go in and look at some of the things that Billy Carter did, said, and were in, such as Hee Haw. The overalls that he wore in the corn patch on Hee Haw are now in this museum. This is the Plains Methodist Church. Jimmy Carter asked Rosalind Smith to be his wife. She turned him down. She was not ready to get married. He dated her longer, then he asked her the second time. She said yes, and on July the 7th of 1946, they got married in the Plains Methodist Church. Of course, Mrs. Carter later became a Baptist. They celebrated their 65th wedding, hold on. 65th, I was right. 65th wedding anniversary this past July. What a wonderful story for people who are getting married to try to obtain the same number of years that they have. This is one of the most beautiful homes in Plains, Georgia, and I'm very proud to say this is where my mother-in-law now lives all by herself, and many wonderful times have been held in this house as a family. Welcome to apartment 9A. This is an apartment in our housing project here in Plains. Jimmy Carter, his wife Rosalind, and their 3 sons lived in apartment 9A when he came home from the Navy, because this is the only place he could afford to rent. Based on his income, he only paid $31 a month to live in this apartment. What I hope you young people who may be watching this, or the parents or grandparents, is explain to your children that it does not matter where you come from nor where you lived. It's what you do with your education and that self-determination. You can even be the President of the United States, just like Jimmy Carter did.